Hydration is communication. Every sip tells your cells that life is still valued. This idea sounds simple, almost too gentle to carry scientific weight, and yet it rests at the center of human biology. From the moment we are formed, water becomes our first environment. Before we ever breathe air, we float in fluid. Our earliest cells learn to divide, organize, and specialize in water. Even now, decades later, more than half of your body is still made of it. Blood is mostly water. Lymph is mostly water. Every chemical reaction that keeps you alive happens in a watery space. So when you drink, you are not just filling a container. You are renewing the medium in which life itself operates. As we grow older, something subtle happens to our sense of thirst. The signal weakens. The body still needs water, but the alarm rings more quietly. Many people over 60 walk through entire mornings slightly dehydrated without realizing it. The mouth may not feel dry. The mind may feel normal. But inside, the blood becomes thicker, slower, more resistant. Imagine trying to move honey through narrow pipes instead of clear water. That is what mild dehydration does to circulation. It increases friction. It makes the heart work harder. It reduces how easily oxygen reaches the legs, the feet, the smallest tissues that already live at the edge of supply. When you take a deliberate sip of water in the morning, something immediate happens. Plasma volume begins to rise. Red blood cells float more freely. The viscosity of blood decreases. This is not philosophy. This is measurable physiology. Within minutes, your cardiovascular system adjusts. Blood pressure stabilizes. Flow improves. It is as if the roads inside you are being washed clean after a long night of stillness. But hydration is more than mechanics. It is signaling. Every cell in your body is surrounded by a membrane that senses its environment. When water is abundant, that membrane relaxes. Transport proteins work efficiently. Nutrients enter more easily. Waste leaves more smoothly. When water is scarce, cells go into conservation mode. They tighten. They slow down. They become defensive. Over time, this state contributes to fatigue, stiffness, and poor circulation. So when you hydrate, you are sending a message. It is safe to function fully. Resources are available. You may open. There is also a hormonal conversation taking place. Dehydration increases the release of vasopressin, a hormone that tells the body to conserve water by narrowing blood vessels. Narrow vessels mean reduced flow to the extremities. Proper hydration lowers this signal. Vessels widen. Resistance decreases. The legs receive more blood, not because you forced it, but because the body no longer feels threatened. Even the nervous system listens to water. Dehydration subtly increases stress hormones like cortisol. These hormones prepare the body for survival, not comfort. They redirect blood away from peripheral tissues toward vital organs. In emergencies, this saves lives. In daily life, it slowly steals vitality from the limbs. When you drink calmly and regularly, cortisol levels ease. The body shifts from survival to maintenance, from defense to repair. And then there is memory. Your cells remember patterns. If you habitually ignore thirst, your body adapts to scarcity. It learns to ration. If you consistently hydrate, it learns abundance. It invests more in circulation, temperature regulation, tissue renewal. Over weeks and months, this becomes your biological personality. So each glass of water becomes more than a habit. It becomes a quiet declaration. I am paying attention. I am participating in my own care. I am choosing to support the invisible systems that carry me through each day. The legs, so often forgotten until they hurt, feel this first. They warm. They lighten. They regain subtle strength, not because of a dramatic intervention, but because the most basic element of life has been honored again and again. Natural nitrates are messengers. They teach your vessels how to relax again. At first, the word nitrate may sound suspicious, something artificial or industrial, something to be avoided. But in nature, nitrates are quiet gifts hidden inside vegetables, especially in plants that grow close to the earth and drink deeply from it. Beets, spinach, arugula, celery, lettuce, these are not just foods. They are carriers of information. They contain molecules that speak directly to your circulatory system in a language it understands perfectly. When you consume natural nitrates, an elegant transformation begins. The journey starts in your mouth. Beneficial bacteria on your tongue convert nitrates into nitrites. This step is so important that antibacterial mouthwash can actually interfere with it. Already, this tells us something profound. Circulation depends on cooperation between systems. Your microbiome, your blood vessels, your diet, your habits, all participate in the same conversation. Health is never isolated. From the mouth, nitrites travel into the bloodstream and are further converted into nitric oxide, one of the most important signaling molecules in the human body. Nitric oxide is not a nutrient. It is not a vitamin. It is a messenger gas, produced by your own cells, that moves freely through tissues and delivers a simple but powerful instruction: relax. When nitric oxide reaches the smooth muscle lining your arteries, it tells those muscles to loosen their grip. The vessel widens, resistance drops, blood flows more easily. In youth, the body produces nitric oxide generously. Enzymes work efficiently. Endothelial cells, which line the inside of blood vessels, are vibrant and responsive. But with age, oxidative stress, inflammation, and sedentary habits, this system weakens. The production of nitric oxide declines. The vessels become stiffer. They respond more slowly. Circulation, especially to distant regions like the legs and feet, suffers quietly. This is where natural nitrates act as teachers. They do not force the vessels open. They remind them how opening feels. They bypass some of the aging pathways and provide an alternative route to nitric oxide production. It is like giving the body a memory of flexibility. Within hours of consuming nitrate-rich foods or juices, measurable changes occur. Blood pressure often drops slightly. Arterial stiffness decreases. Exercise tolerance improves. Skin temperature in the extremities rises. These are not dramatic effects, but they are consistent, reliable, and biologically meaningful. They show that the body is responding, recalibrating, remembering. What is remarkable is how targeted this response can be. Nitric oxide tends to be released most strongly in areas that are oxygen poor. This means it naturally directs blood toward tissues that need it most. In older adults, the lower limbs often exist in a state of mild oxygen deficiency due to narrowed vessels. Nitrate-derived nitric oxide senses this and preferentially improves flow there. It is intelligent chemistry, guided by evolutionary wisdom. There is also an emotional dimension to this process. When blood flow improves, sensory nerves awaken. The feet feel more present. Balance improves. Movement becomes more confident. This feeds back into the brain. Confidence reduces fear. Reduced fear lowers stress hormones. Lower stress preserves nitric oxide. A positive loop begins, all from a molecule found in humble vegetables. Natural nitrates also interact with exercise. Even gentle walking enhances their effects. Muscle contractions increase blood flow, which distributes nitric oxide more efficiently. At the same time, nitric oxide improves muscle oxygenation, reducing fatigue. Movement and nutrition become partners, not competitors. Importantly, these benefits emerge from whole foods, not synthetic supplements. In plants, nitrates come packaged with antioxidants, polyphenols, potassium, and fiber. These protect nitric oxide from being destroyed too quickly. They stabilize its message. They extend its influence. Nature rarely sends signals alone. It sends them with support. So when you drink beet juice, eat leafy greens, or blend them into a simple drink, you are not chasing a trend. You are participating in a biochemical dialogue that has existed for millions of years. You are allowing plant intelligence to converse with human physiology. You are restoring a pathway that time has weakened, not with force, but with familiarity. The vessels respond not because they are commanded, but because they recognize the language. Anti-inflammatory roots restore flexibility. They soften what time has hardened. Beneath the surface of the soil, roots grow in silence, pushing through resistance, adapting to pressure, storing energy for uncertain seasons. Ginger and turmeric are among the most resilient of these underground survivors, and when they enter the human body, they carry with them a quiet intelligence shaped by endurance. They do not act loudly. They do not overwhelm systems. They work patiently, influencing the slow chemistry of inflammation, which is one of the most powerful forces shaping how the body ages. Inflammation is not an enemy. It is a language the immune system uses to protect you. When you are injured or infected, inflammatory signals rush in like emergency responders. Blood vessels widen, white cells gather, heat and swelling appear. This is healing in action. But with age, stress, poor sleep, processed food, and inactivity, inflammation often becomes chronic. It no longer arrives and leaves. It settles in. It becomes background noise. And this constant low-grade inflammation quietly stiffens tissues, including the delicate lining of blood vessels. When vessels are inflamed, they lose elasticity. Their smooth muscle fibers remain slightly contracted. Their inner walls become rougher. Microscopic damage accumulates. This makes it harder for blood to flow freely, especially through narrow pathways in the legs and feet. The heart may be strong, but the roads are damaged. The problem is not supply. It is resistance. Ginger contains compounds called gingerols and shogaels. Turmeric contains curcumin. These molecules interact with inflammatory pathways at multiple levels. They reduce the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines. They inhibit enzymes that promote swelling and oxidative damage. They calm overactive immune responses. Unlike many drugs that block a single pathway, these plant compounds work gently across networks. They do not silence inflammation. They rebalance it. Within the cells lining your arteries, inflammation activates transcription factors that encourage stiffness and plaque formation. Ginger and turmeric interfere with these signals. They reduce oxidative stress, which otherwise destroys nitric oxide and weakens vessel relaxation. By protecting nitric oxide and calming immune activity at the same time, these roots create an environment where flexibility can return. Flexibility in blood vessels is not metaphorical. It is mechanical. Healthy arteries expand slightly with every heartbeat and recoil between beats. This rhythmic movement helps propel blood forward. With chronic inflammation, this elasticity fades. The vessels become rigid tubes. Blood flow becomes more turbulent. Pressure rises. Peripheral circulation declines. When anti-inflammatory compounds reduce cellular irritation, collagen and elastin fibers in vessel walls function more normally. The arteries begin to breathe again. There is also an effect on blood itself. Chronic inflammation increases fibrinogen and other clot-promoting proteins. Blood becomes stickier. Platelets become more reactive. Microclots form more easily in small vessels. Ginger has mild antiplatelet properties. Turmeric improves endothelial function. Together, they subtly reduce this stickiness, allowing blood cells to slide past one another with less friction. The difference may be microscopic, but across billions of cells, it becomes significant. These roots also influence the digestive system, which is deeply connected to inflammation. A healthy gut barrier prevents inflammatory molecules from leaking into the bloodstream. Ginger improves gastric motility. Turmeric supports intestinal integrity. When digestion improves, systemic inflammation often decreases. The legs benefit from this distant harmony. On a sensory level, people often notice reduced joint stiffness, warmer extremities, and smoother movement after regular use of these roots. These are not placebo effects. They reflect changes in tissue hydration, nerve signaling, and vascular tone. When inflammation recedes, nerves fire more accurately. Muscles relax more completely. Blood vessels respond more quickly. Perhaps most importantly, ginger and turmeric encourage patience in healing. They do not produce dramatic overnight changes. They work in layers, day after day, molecule by molecule. This mirrors how aging itself unfolds. Slowly, quietly, accumulatively. To counter it, the body needs equally patient allies. When you add a small amount of these roots to your daily drink, you are not seeking instant relief. You are choosing to participate in long-term restoration. You are giving your vessels permission to let go of constant defense. You are reminding tissues that they do not have to live in a state of alert. Over time, this message reshapes structure. It restores softness. It returns resilience. And through that resilience, blood finds its way once more with less resistance, more grace, and deeper reliability. Calm breathing amplifies circulation. Your nervous system is a silent partner in blood flow. Long before medicine could measure arteries and hormones, the human body learned to survive through rhythm. The rhythm of breath, the rhythm of heartbeat, the rhythm of waking and resting. These rhythms are not separate. They are woven together by the nervous system, an invisible network that constantly decides where energy goes, where blood flows, and what parts of you receive attention at any given moment. Every breath you take sends information to your brain. Fast, shallow breathing tells it that something may be wrong, that danger could be near, that resources must be conserved and redirected. In response, the sympathetic nervous system becomes more active. Stress hormones rise. Blood vessels in the skin and limbs narrow. Blood is pulled inward toward the heart and brain. This response once protected our ancestors from predators. Today, it is triggered by deadlines, worries, news headlines, and unspoken fears. The body does not know the difference. It prepares for survival anyway. Over time, many people live in this state without realizing it. The shoulders are slightly raised. The jaw is tense. The breath rarely reaches the lower lungs. In this condition, peripheral circulation is quietly sacrificed. The legs become cooler. The feet lose sensitivity. Muscles fatigue more easily. Healing slows. None of this feels dramatic. It feels normal, but it is not optimal. Slow, deep breathing sends a different message. When you inhale through the nose and allow the diaphragm to descend, you stimulate the vagus nerve, a major pathway of the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the branch responsible for rest, repair, and regeneration. It lowers heart rate. It reduces cortisol. It relaxes smooth muscle in blood vessels. It tells the body that it is safe to distribute resources generously. Physiologically, this process is precise. With each slow inhalation, pressure changes inside the chest cavity help draw venous blood back toward the heart. With each relaxed exhalation, arterial pressure stabilizes. The heart does not need to work as hard. Stroke volume increases. More blood moves with less effort. This improves delivery to distant tissues, including the lower limbs. Breathing also affects carbon dioxide levels in the blood. Contrary to popular belief, carbon dioxide is not just waste. It is a regulator of vessel diameter. When you breathe too quickly, carbon dioxide drops. This causes blood vessels to constrict, reducing oxygen delivery despite high oxygen levels. Slow breathing maintains healthy carbon dioxide balance, which helps keep vessels open. Oxygen then reaches tissues more efficiently. The brain listens closely to breath. Regions that regulate emotion, memory, and autonomic control are directly influenced by respiratory patterns. When breathing is calm, these centers synchronize. Anxiety diminishes. Focus improves. Muscle tone softens. This neurological harmony translates into vascular harmony. Blood flow becomes smoother and more evenly distributed. There is also an effect on posture. Shallow breathing often accompanies collapsed chest and forward head position. This compresses blood vessels in the neck and upper chest, affecting circulation throughout the body. Deep breathing encourages upright alignment. The spine lengthens. The rib cage expands. Vascular pathways open. The entire circulatory network benefits from this subtle structural change. In older adults, breathing patterns often become restricted due to stiffness, habit, or fear of discomfort. Lung elasticity decreases. Rib mobility declines. This reduces tidal volume and weakens the calming influence of respiration. But the nervous system remains plastic. With gentle practice, it can relearn. Even a few minutes of conscious breathing each day can shift baseline tone toward relaxation. When calm breathing is combined with hydration and nutrition, the effects multiply. Blood that is well hydrated flows easily. Vessels that are chemically relaxed respond quickly. A nervous system that feels safe allows both to function without interference. Circulation becomes not just a mechanical process, but a coordinated symphony. Many people search for complex interventions to improve blood flow, overlooking the most immediate tool they carry everywhere, their breath. It requires no prescription, no equipment, no cost, only attention. When you pause, inhale slowly, and exhale fully, you are adjusting internal chemistry, electrical signals, and mechanical forces at once. Over time, this practice reshapes baseline physiology. Resting heart rate declines, blood pressure stabilizes, peripheral warmth increases, fatigue decreases, sleep improves. All of these changes support better circulation in the legs. Not because you forced blood downward, but because you removed the internal barriers that were quietly blocking its path. Consistency is compassion. One day awakens, many days transform. The human body is not built for sudden miracles. It is built for gradual adaptation. Every system inside you, circulation, immunity, metabolism, repair, operates through patterns repeated over time. Cells do not change their behavior because of one good decision. They change because of thousands of quiet ones layered gently on top of each other. This is why consistency is not discipline alone. It is kindness expressed through repetition. When you drink water one morning, nourish yourself with nitrate-rich plants, add anti-inflammatory roots, breathe calmly, and move gently, your body notices. But it does not immediately rebuild itself. It observes. It gathers data. It waits to see whether this is temporary or trustworthy. Biology is cautious. It evolved in uncertain environments. It does not invest resources in short-lived trends. On the first day, hydration improves blood viscosity. Nitric oxide rises slightly. Inflammation dips a little. The nervous system relaxes for moments at a time. These changes are real, but fragile. If the pattern disappears, the body returns to old settings. No harm is done, but no deep change occurs. On the 10th day, something different begins. Gene expression starts to shift. Enzymes involved in nitric oxide production increase their activity. Antioxidant systems strengthen. Mitochondria in muscle cells become more efficient. Capillaries begin subtle remodeling. These processes are invisible, but they are profound. They represent commitment from your biology. The body has decided that this new environment is stable enough to invest in. On the 30th day, structural changes deepen. Arteries respond more quickly to demand. Endothelial cells repair micro-damage more effectively. Inflammatory markers decline at baseline. Blood sugar regulation improves. Nerve sensitivity in the feet often increases. Balance feels steadier. Walking feels easier. These are not random improvements. They are the accumulated outcome of repeated signals. Consistency works because it aligns with how cells learn. Every cell contains molecular memory. Proteins are produced based on past conditions. Receptors are upregulated or downregulated depending on repeated exposure. When you consistently provide hydration, nutrients, and calm signals, the cell adjusts its internal machinery accordingly. It becomes better at using what you give it. There is also a psychological transformation. At first, healthy practices require effort. They feel like tasks. Over time, they become identity. You stop thinking, I should drink this. You begin thinking, this is how I live. This shift reduces stress around self-care. Lower stress further improves circulation. The mind and body reinforce each other. Many people abandon beneficial habits because progress feels slow. But slow is the natural pace of remodeling living tissue. Blood vessels replace their lining cells every few weeks. Collagen structures remodel over months. Nerve pathways strengthen over repeated activation. Expecting rapid change is like planting a tree and checking daily for fruit. Growth is happening, but not on human impatient schedules. Consistency is also forgiving. You will miss days. You will forget. You will feel tired. Compassionate consistency does not punish lapses. It returns gently. It says, begin again. This attitude protects motivation. Harsh self-judgment activates stress responses that undermine circulation. Gentle persistence supports it. Over years, consistent habits reshape aging itself. Telomere shortening slows. Epigenetic markers associated with inflammation decrease. Vascular stiffness progresses more slowly. Muscle mass is preserved longer. Independence is extended. These are not abstract benefits. They determine how freely you will move in later decades. The legs reflect this most clearly. They are distant from the heart. They depend on efficient pumping, flexible vessels, responsive nerves, and healthy muscles. When any of these weaken, walking becomes harder. When all are supported consistently, mobility is protected. Consistency is compassion because it honors the body's pace. It respects that healing is not an event but a relationship. Each day of care is a conversation that says, I am still here with you. I have not forgotten you. Over time, the body believes this message. It responds with resilience, warmth, strength, and reliability. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but faithfully, in ways that accumulate into a life that moves with greater ease and dignity. If you found these insights helpful and want to continue learning practical, science-backed strategies to stay healthy, strong, and vibrant as you age, don't forget to like this video, share it with friends and family who could benefit, and subscribe to our channel for daily senior wellness tips, nutrition guidance, and simple lifestyle hacks designed to enhance longevity and quality of life. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video that can help you live healthier, happier, and more empowered every day.